speaking or writing untruth, don't be surprised, because trickery and deception are permissible and even prescribed in Islam through the practices of four things: Taqiyya, TAWRIYA KITMAN, and Muruna. Join me as we enter the deception AMOURY of Islam. Different methods of deception are permissible in Islam as specified in the Quran. This method or strategies consisting of four different types of deceit known as Taqiyya, Muruna or Muruna, TAWRIYA, and Kitman. Others add Taysir and Darura, but most of these two are simply repetitions, as some agree. Such deceptive practices manifest in numerous ways, including in the agendas of many Islamic organizations and in Islamic media. Let's look at the first one, Taqiyya. That's the price of Taqiyya. Taqiyya, which is a Shia language. Taqiyya is a Shia language, and in Sunni it is Muda'rat. Let's look at the most popular one, Taqiyya. The Quran is known for permitting Muslims to be deceptive in certain situations, including when reconciling two or more quarreling parties, when placating one spouse, and 3, for gaining strategic advantage during war. However, in most other cases, the Quran is opposed to Muslims deceiving other Muslims. The Quran believes in lying to non-Muslims, but the Quran does not believe in Muslims lying one to another. But we will understand another aspect of this lying between Muslims later. The deception is supposed to be directed at non-Muslims. This deception of Taqiyya. Now, what is Taqiyya? This is an Islamic defense against religious persecution or as a jihad weapon against unbelievers. It's often depicted as being equal or superior to other military virtues such as courage, fortitude, or self-sacrifice. Muslims believe that Taqiyya is better in warfare, is so cunning, is so skilled than courage, fortitude, or even self-sacrifice. That is the Taqiyya. According to the Shari'a, which are the legal rulings which define how Muslims behave in all circumstances, this deception is acceptable and is legally permissible, and in many situations, and it is even obligatory in others. This is usually known as Taqiyya. I hope you understand. Taqiyya is used against unbelievers, and in the Sharia it is acceptable, legally acceptable, and is permissible in many situations, and is even obligatory in others. Now let's look at the example of Taqiyya. Muslims are permitted to lie and feign apostasy, that is abandoning one's religion rather than suffering persecution. For a Muslim to suffer persecution, or for Muslims in a foreign country to suffer persecution, they will be happy when you tell them that you are no longer a Muslim. Taqiyya is fundamental to Islam's is fundamental to Islam. Essentially, every sect of Islam agrees to it and they practice it. Every sect, whether it is Sunni, whether it is Shia, whether it is Sufi, whatever sect of Islam, they accept it and they all practice it. And it's prevalent in Islamic politics, especially in the modern era. Do you understand? In politics, they use it so much. Taqiyya is used so much in modern politics in non-Muslim countries. Now let's look at some quotes from Islamic sources. Very sincere and deep quotes, authoritative. One from Muhammad ibn Jarir al-Tabari. I want to read what al-Tabari says. This is what he says. Al-Tabari, that is 923. If you Muslims are under their, that is non-Muslims authority, fearing for yourself, behave loyally to them with your tongue while harboring inner animosity for them. Know that God has forbidden believers from being friendly or on intimate terms with the infidels rather than other believers, except when infidels are above them in authority. should that be the case, let them act friendly towards them while preserving their religion. Do you understand? This Muhammad, this man who I quoted, he's saying that when Muslims are in non-Muslim country, they can smile to the non-Muslims. They can become fine to them, so far as they hate them in their hearts, because they have an agenda of not being killed or not being persecuted. They can behave like they are not Muslims. Let's look at another Islamic scholar, Ibn Kathir. That is between 1373. And what Ibn Kathir, the most famous Ibn Kathir, what he says: whoever at any time or place fears evil from non-Muslims, they may protect themselves through outward show. He says the Muslims will protect themselves through outward show. As proof of this, he quotes Muhammad's, you see, Ibn Kathir in proof of this, he quotes Muhammad's close companion, that is Prophet Muhammad's close companion, who is called Abu Darda. And this is what Abu Darda said: let us grin in the face of some people while our hearts curse them. Do you see? So this Muhammad's friend called Abu Darda is saying that when they go to Muslim countries, they should smile. Let us grin. They smile, let your cheek, from one end to the other, smile to them. Grin, make you be happy. Why in your heart you are cursing them? Another companion, simply known as Al-Hassan, said, doing Taqiyya is acceptable till the day of judgment, that is in perpetuity. This man is saying that, Al-Hassan is saying that Muslims are supposed to do Taqiyya forever. Every day of their life, they are supposed to do Taqiyya. And prominent Muslim scholars such as Abu Abdullah al-Katabi, 1214 to 1273, and Muhyiddin ibn al-Arabi, this is what they said. And they have extended the Taqiyya and allowed Muslims to behave like infidels or worse. They are saying that Muslims can behave like infidels, like Christians or like Buddhists or worse. They can even decide to go and worship idols or offering false testimony and even exposing weakness of their fellow Muslims as infidels. Anything short of actually killing one another. They are saying that these people are saying that, these other scholars are saying that when Muslims go to a country and it comes to the West, they can even decide to be worshipping idols, behaving like worshipping idols, even though in their heart it is still Allah. They can even decide to betray one another, but not to the extent of killing one another. Do you understand? The other Muslims know that this betrayal is because of Taqiyya. Hello? Let's go. The Christian, you know something? You see how Muslims behave? But the Christian will die for his faith. He will stand with his Christ and will not deny him, even when you put a gun at his head. But Taqiyya will allow a Muslim to even swear he hates Muhammad just to be set free and promote Islam. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. Jesus Christ is the truth. So Christians are asked to speak the truth wherever they go. They cannot deny the faith. Jesus Christ said, if you deny me among men, I will deny you before the Father. And God, Jesus Christ is faithful, and he does not want anybody to deny him. So he will not deny us. He will tell us before the Father that this person denied me. But because of my sacrifice on the cross, through the cross, even though he denied me, through the cross, his sins are forgiven. Now let's listen to one person called Emir Tian. He says in his entry on jihad from the Encyclopedia of Islam. So I'm quoting from the Encyclopedia of Islam. This is what the Encyclopedia of Islam says. The duty of jihad exists as long as the universal domination of Islam has not been attained. Peace with non-Muslim nations is therefore a provisional state of affairs only. The chance of circumstances alone can justify it temporarily. You see? Now let's understand something. In fact, all the four schools of Sunni agree. All the four schools of Sunni agree that jihad is when Muslims wage war on infidels after having called on them to embrace Islam or at least pay the jizya. You see, what these four schools of Sunni Muslims are saying that every Muslim is supposed to engage in jihad against infidel. When they say infidel, they're talking about Christians, Jews, Muslims, anybody at all who is not a Muslim. Atheists, they call them infidels. Every Muslim is supposed to wage war against all these people. And having called on them to embrace Islam, when they call on us, like me, a Christian, a Muslim says I should embrace Islam, and I fail to embrace Islam, he's supposed to do jihad on me. Or at least when I fail to embrace Islam, I'm supposed to pay a tax to him or to the Muslim religion. That is the jizya. If I don't do it, I am supposed to live, which will make me live in submission to Allah. If I'm supposed to, if I obey it, then I will still be a Christian, but I will be paying tax to the Muslim religion. If I cannot pay the tax, I will either be killed or I'll be forced to become a Muslim. That's what they do. That's how they understand jihad. The second is unprovoked Islamic expansionist jihad is made acceptable in the eyes of many mainstream Muslims by their viewing it as an altruistic endeavor, where non-Muslims are thought of as living in bondage due to being deprived of goodness that will exist by all humanity, living in accordance with Islamic law. Do you see what they are saying here is Muslims will surely attack you, not because you have offended them, not because you are a bad person, but they think that because you are not living under the Sharia law, or because you are not living in an Islamic country where Islam is ruling, or because you are not being a Muslim, they will have to attack the place, and they think attacking the place is liberating you so that you will enjoy the goodies of Islam. You understand? But you know, Muhammad passed all. Muhammad and Islam, they are also known for abruptly and brutally breaking war treaties in surprise attack once the Muslim forces have regrouped for renewing their offensives. Do you understand? The Muhammad was somebody that when he has war with you, or you realize that there will be war between he or an enemy, and he's losing the war, or let's say there's a truce, there's a peace conditions are set, and then maybe they're giving 2-3 years, nobody attacks each other. Muhammad will always agree to this truce or to this peace covenant or this peace offering because he knows he's going to lose. When Muhammad regroups, he will attack you, and they see this as part of Taqiyya. They don't think breaking the rules of peace, the peace rules, is wrong. Breaking war treaties and surprising their enemies, attacking them, they think it is a right thing. They justify this by believing, even without evidence, that if their opponents are about to break treaty, they can preempt by breaking it first. And also Muslim leaders are allowed by certain Muslim schools to abrogate treaties for any reason that will be advantageous for Islam. Sometimes they will say that, Muhammad will say that, these people are going to attack you. When they come to attack him, then he will first go and attack you. And then when he asks, he said that he realizes they come to attack him, so he first decides to attack you. And then when there is also an agreement, peace agreement has been signed between Muhammad and maybe some Christian town or so on, Muhammad can abrogate it, or any Muslim leader can abrogate it if they think it's advantageous. The abrogation is advantageous for Islam. And this thing of they attacking first because they think you will come attack them, Israel is using against them. Israel is using against the Islamic countries surrounding them. And Israel has a certain term, say, kill them before they kill you. They are using it against them because they know how the Muslims are. They've been with them for many centuries, and these Muslims can surprise you. So they will first go and attack you before you plan of attacking them. The Quran says, "We Muslims renounce you non-Muslims. Enmity and hate shall forever reign between us till you believe in God alone." That is Surah 60 verse 4. I read it again. This is what Surah 60 verse 4 says. "We Muslims renounce you non-Muslims. Enmity and hate shall forever reign between us till you believe in God. Hello, Quran 60 verse 4. Now, how does Taqiyya affect Western or non-Islamic countries? The funny thing is, most Westerners continue to think that Muslims' morals or laws and ethical constraints are near identical to those of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Naively or arrogantly, today's multiculturalist leaders project their own worldview onto Islamists, thinking a handshake and smiles across a cup of tea, as well as numerous concessions, are enough to dismantle the power of God's word and centuries of unchanging tradition. The fact remains, right and wrong in Islam have little to do with universal standards. You see, what is happening is Western nations like America, Britain, and so on, they think that when there is a concession, or when they sit down, and then they with Muslim countries or Muslim Islamic organizations, and they have a cup of tea and they shake their hands and they smile and they take pictures, then everything is right, and then because everything is going well. But they realize that the fact that remains that right and wrong, this is very careful, right and wrong in Islam has little to do with universal standards. Right and wrong in Islam is not about universal standards, it's not about your democracy. Right and wrong is about what Islam itself teaches, much of which is antithetical to Western norms. Whatever you say, your democracy will teach this, but if it does not go against, it goes against what Islam teaches, it is antithetical. It is antithetical to what? The traditional and Western norms. They don't have a problem. If the thing agrees with Islamic rules, they don't care. But when it goes against Islam, they don't care whatever. Because whatever they do, whatever standards they will form, it is always against Western norms. It is antithetical towards the Western norms, the Islamic standards. They don't care about your democracy. Now, if war with infidel is perpetual affair, if war is deceit, and if these are justified by intentions, any number of Muslims will naturally conclude that they have a divinely sanctioned right to deceive, so long as they believe their deception serves to aid Islam, until all chaos ceases and all religions belong to Allah. Quran 8 verse 9. Amen. Quran 8 verse 9. Let me say it again. I'm saying that if war with unbelievers or Christians or Buddhists or atheists is, you say war is a perpetual something, it's something that does not end. And if war to them is deceit, you have to deceive your enemies. And if the deeds of war are justified by their intentions, that is to promote Islam, any number of Muslims will naturally conclude that they have a divinely sanctioned right to deceive, so long as they believe their deception serves to aid Islam. You understand? So let's listen to this part of the Quran. Until all chaos ceases and all religion belong to God. The Islamic people will fight you till what they think to be chaos ceases. And their chaos here means that you are going to church, you are a Christian. No, if you are in your Christian country or non-Muslim country, you don't have a problem. But when you are in their country, chaos ceases when everything is bows to Allah. Quran 8 verse 39. Until everything bow to Allah, they see everything as chaotic. God bless you. I want us to now go to the second one, that is Muruna. I want you to take a good breath, stretch yourself, and let's join me in the second part. That is the practice of Muruna. Now let's look at the second one. That is the practice of Muruna. The practice of Muruna. The first one is Taqiyya. The second one is Muruna. Muruna means using flexibility to blend with the enemy or surroundings. You see, Muruna means becoming like a chameleon. You are using flexibility and you're able to blend with the surrounding. As if they practice democracy, you behave like you also love democracy. Sometimes you attend their demonstrations and so on. You say, oh, let the people should have their rights and so on. You blend with your surrounding and with the enemy in your surrounding. Believing, listen very carefully, I'm still talking about Muruna. Believing that it is permissible to deceitfully behave in an Islamic manner if it serves the greater goal of advancing Islam. Let me repeat again what Muruna is. Muruna means using flexibility to blend with the surroundings, acting like a chameleon. You become like a Trojan horse, wolves in sheepskin. You blend with the surrounding, believing that this blending will help or it will deceitfully help Islam to rise. And this blending, believing that it is permissible to deceitfully behave in an un-Islamic manner. You can behave in an un-Islamic manner by even saying that you are against Islam. Islam is this. The Muslims are this. Behave deceitfully to your people, to your surroundings. Like, oh, this man is no longer a Muslim. This man, is simply doing Muruna. I'm not saying some Muslims have not repented. I'm not saying ex-Muslims are still Muslims. I'm not saying ex-Muslims are doing Muruna or Taqiyya. No, I'm saying that just give the Muslims for some time. What is inside him will come out. I recall some years ago, there are some Muslims, they didn't know that they were doing Muruna. There are some Muslims who came in to a certain Christian and said, you said that anybody who believes that Jesus Christ is Lord, you'll be saved. Then they told the Christian, 3 Muslims told the Christian, Jesus Christ is Lord. And he asked the Christian. And the Christian was confused. Because the Muslims, they didn't just say Jesus Christ is Lord. They said, oh, Jesus Christ is Lord of my life. I take him as my personal savior. And the Christian was confused. Then God gave this Christian man wisdom. He saw other Muslims passing. And then he called them. Come and see these Muslim friends of yours. They've rejected Islam. They are now Christians. And the Muslims who said Jesus Christ is Lord said, why? We have not said that. We have not said that. You see, they were using Muruna. They were becoming like chameleons. They were becoming like chameleons. They were saying, when you say Jesus Christ is Lord, then you will see it. They were becoming like chameleons. They wanted to use it to advance Islam. There's a certain man called Walid Shubat, who's a former PLO member. If you want to know more about Muruna, then go and watch his video on YouTube. And this is how this man was an extremist Muslim Brotherhood member, and he was in the Muslim Brotherhood organization. And he said that he makes use of the Muruna strategy, and by saying that the Muslims will temporarily behave as moderate people. They are not extremists, to gain the trust of the West in order to ensure their long-term strategy of subjugating the entire world with Sharia law. You see, he says to behave like, oh, moderate. This man is a moderate Christian. Sometimes moderate Christian, moderate Muslim. Sometimes moderate Muslims. He cites as example what recently happened during Egypt's so-called secular revolution, which was actually a brotherhood cover to implement Islamic extremism. Walid Shubat explains that Sheikh Yusuf Abdullah can't even pronounce his name well. Karadi, you see, the Sheikh, and he was involved in the overthrow of Egypt, had said, this is what that Sheikh, whose name I cannot pronounce, that Sheikh Gadawi or whatever, not Gaddafi. Yeah. Qaradawi. Qardwi. This is what the man said. To balance between good and evil. And if the good and evil conflict with each other, we take priority as to when we put ahead evil for the sake of an interest, and determine when the evil deed is forgiven for the sake of an interest. In other words, Qaradawi, forgive me please, Qradw, I don't know why I cannot pronounce this man's name, Qaradawi, has been rationalizing his doing evil things for the sake of the so-called good. He's rationalizing why the thing that is evil, he says it is good. So that is what? Muruna. So Muruna is just simply becoming like a chameleon. There's one popular former president of one of these countries. He used Muruna to become a president. He went to the Christian churches, and frankly, I was thinking he was a Christian. He went to the Christian churches and he behaved like a Christian. He go to the Buddhist shrines and so on, and he behaved like a Buddhist. When he see atheists, he will not say there is no God, and he won the hearts of Christians. I can just imagine him with one charismatic pastor promoting him from his pulpit and said, "This man is this man is that, this man is that." He was doing this. Islamic man was simply doing Muruna to act like a chameleon. Was ever doing Muruna. Now let us look at the third one. You see, Taqiyya, Muruna. Then let's look at the third one. The third one is TAWRIYA. TAWRIYA. Tawriyya is a doctrine that allows lying in virtually all circumstances. You see, the second one is becoming like a chameleon. It's like a lie. But Tawriyya, not Taqiyya, not Muruna, but Tawriyya, it allows lying virtually in all circumstances, including to fellow Muslims. Here, when you are using Tawriyya, you can lie to your fellow Muslims, and by swearing to Allah, provided the liar is creative enough to articulate his deceit in a way that is true to him. You see, this Tawriyya is, you can even lie to anybody. If the way you are lying, your deceit, you can articulate it in the way that it is so true. You are so creative in your life. You can even say Allah. You can even swear, provided that your lie is so creative, and it is enough to articulate your deceit in the way that it is true to him. Is what we call creative lying. By making use of the double entendres, where the speaker says something that means one thing, while the listener thinks it means something else. During which the speaker's words technically supports the listener's alternate meaning. I want to say it again. You see, when you talk of Tawriyya, you say something, but to your listeners it means something else. But to you, you know what you are saying. Because you have creativity in your lying, and because you can lie, you will say one thing, but it means something else. The listener thinks you are saying something else. For example, I don't have one kobo. I don't have one peso. I don't have one penny. You see, imagine you say you don't have one kobo. Kobo is a Nigerian coins, and when you say peso, it is my Ghanaian coins. You say, "Oh, I don't have kobo. I don't have peso. Oh, I don't have one penny in my pocket. I don't have kobo in my pocket. I don't." What will you be thinking? You will simply be saying that the man doesn't have. You, the listener, will assume that me, the speaker, means that I don't have any money at all. You see, but me, the speaker, I'm practicing Tawriyya. I might be a millionaire, I might even have maybe in the same pocket, I might not have coins. Listen very carefully. I may not have coins, but I may have cedis, dollars, naira. I may not have kobo. I may not have penny. I may not have pesos. But I may have dollars. I may have cedis in my pockets. It is called TAWRIYA. You see, all these are legitimate according to Sharia law, and they do not constitute lying, which is otherwise forbidden in Islam, except in 3 cases. You see, Islam allows lying in 3 cases: lying in war, lying to one spouse. For Islam, you can lie to your spouse. When it comes to TAWRIYA, when it comes to what they call lying, you see, half of them, what I'm saying is not lying though. But when they think they are really lying, is lying in war, lying to one spouse, and lying to reconcile people. A Muslim can lie. Maybe 2 people are fighting, and they want to settle the problem. A Muslim can lie just to make sure the problem is solved. So Muslim lying in war, lying against your wife, because no Muslims have 4 wives maximum. Apart from Muhammad, he was the champion. So he had 13. And other concubines and sex slaves and so on. So because all your wives are 4, you tell this one, I love you very well. Then you will be insulting this one to this one, and then this one to this one. All of them thinks they are the best wife. It's not permissible lying to your wives because they have plenty of wives. All of them to you, they are the best. This one is the most beautiful. This one, she's the most beautiful. This one is the most. It is called TAWRIYA. And then the third one is reconciling people. For this, the Sharia permits Muslims to lie freely without the structures of TAWRIYA, the structures or the preventives of TAWRIYA. That is, without the need for creativity. In all other cases, according to the words of Sheikh Muhammad Salid al-Munajid, TAWRIYA is permissible under 2 conditions. 1, that the words used fit the hidden meaning. This is what another Muslim scholar is saying. That when you talk of TAWRIYA, it is permissible under 2 conditions. 1, that the words used fit the hidden meaning. I don't have kobo, I don't have penny, I don't have peso. He's talking about money. So it is acceptable, and you don't see it as lie because it's fitting the hidden meaning. It fits the hidden meaning, which means that you have money, but when the person to know you have money, so you say you don't have peso, you don't have penny, you don't have kobo. So it fits the hidden meaning. 2, that it does not lend to an injustice. When you are doing TAWRIYA, they will say that it shouldn't lead to injustice. Then you say, oh, then that is fine, because if somebody goes and say somebody's goat, somebody go and do smuggling, somebody go and hijack somebody does bad things. I mean, it does not lead to injustice. So you end up clapping for them, but you know something. That injustice is defined by their Sharia rather than Western standards. So what they will term as injustice, they will give the meaning of injustice by what Sharia says. So cutting somebody's head, telling lies may be wrong to Western standards, but if the Sharia says go and steal, somebody steals, you cut his hand, you go and do this. That is not injustice. Like when a woman is gang raped, and that woman rather is beaten 200 lashes, and sometimes jailed. Or maybe a girl is raped in a family, then there's something they call the family honor or something. Then the brothers will go and stone their sister or kill their daughter. You see, you will think this is injustice because the person has already been raped and she should be compensated. No, according to the Sharia, the woman have dressed well, nicely, no man will be tempted. That's why they cover all their faces. No man will be tempted for him or her. No man will be tempted to go and rape that lady. So the justice in the Sharia law is against the one rather for not dressing well according to Muslim standard and not Western standards. And listen to what Muhammad said. Allah has commanded me to equivocate, that is, to use ambiguous religious language to conceal the truth. And Muhammad is speaking. Among the people, in as much as he has commanded me to establish religious obligations, and I have been sent with obfuscation, meaning to confuse the enemy. And whoever lives his life in dissimulation, meaning concealment of one's thoughts, feelings, or character, dies a martyr. And this is what Samir Mukarram Al-Taqiyya Al-Islam, London, written in London, it was written in London, the book was printed in London, Muda'rat Al-Turat Al-Druzi, 2004, page 30, what I quoted. It was written by that man. Yeah, Samir Mukarram. Another example of Tawriyya, let's another example of Tawriyya. Imagine someone protests. Imagine Christians will protest. Oh, you Muslims are against us. Imagine we protest that your Surah chapter 1 verse 7 demeans Christians and Jews. In case you a Christian going protest to a Muslim, that it demeans Christians and Jews. A Muslim practicing Tawriyya might simply reply, Surah 1 verse 7 never mentions Jews or Christians. Why, knowing that despite the fact that it never technically mentions them by name, the word those in that passage is meant to refer to them nevertheless. Now this is what Surah chapter 1 verse 7 says. The part of those you have blessed. The part of those you have blessed, not of those against whom there is anger, nor those who are misguided. I read it again. Surah chapter 1 verse 7. The part of those who are blessed. When the Muslims pray, it's one of the things they say. The part of those who are blessed, every morning, every day, that's what they pray. They add this to their prayers. I forgot what they call it. It's the part of those who are blessed, not of those against whom there is anger, nor those who are misguided. You see, they are those who have been blessed, and they see the Muslims, they see the Jews and the Christians as people who are misguided. You see, Tawriyya is mostly used by Muslims around. Sometimes on Facebook, some of the things that Muslims do is Tawriyya. They quote it is Tawriyya. Sometimes it's not Tawriyya, but it is Kitman, which we'll come to very soon. You write something, and then the Muslim will try and change the subject. He's doing Tawriyya. Or he will behave like he doesn't know what is going on. He's doing Muruna, behaving like a chameleon. Tawriyya, like a chameleon. He behaves like what you are saying, you've heard it before. You will see that Muhammad marries a girl at 6 and has sex with her at 9. Formerly they have been denying it. Now do you know what they do? In their Tawriyya, they will say that, oh, but Moses too had different many wives, and Solomon had plenty of women, and so they are doing Tawriyya, plenty of women. You have to plenty of women, and then they will lie by telling you that Joseph, the husband of Mary, was 90 years when he married Mary. Mary was a baby, was a child. You see, it is called Taqiyya. They are giving half truth, and they are becoming like a chameleon, trying to use what is not true. You see, they take half truth. Yes, Solomon had plenty wives, but we're not talking about Solomon having plenty wives. We're talking about Muhammad sleeping with a woman, with a child. Do you understand? And then you say something, and then they bring something. It is part of Tawriyya. We will learn more about the things that they do, and that's the fourth one. And you see more of this one also in social media, or when you are debating with Muslims, or you are chatting with Muslims in Facebook. It's called Kitman. Kitman. Nice name, Kitman. Kitman. Kitman is characterized by somebody telling only parts of the truth. They tell only part of the truth. For example, if a Muslim were to say that jihad refers to an eternal spiritual struggle, when actually only a few passages in the Quran refer to it as that way. You tell the Muslim that they are doing jihad, he will tell you that jihad refers to eternal spiritual what? Struggle. That is eternally, it's like struggling, trying to become good, trying to have a good life, trying to please your Allah, trying to lead a good life, trying to be a good Muslim. They will tell you that is what is called what? Jihad. It's an eternal spiritual struggle. Don't mind them. He's simply doing kitman. He's just telling you half of the truth. Because when you read the Quran, it's only few passages that talks about eternal spiritual struggle of the Muslim. Another common use of kitman is to quote peaceful passages from the Quran that actually has been abrogated by contradictory militant verses which have been written later and are required to take precedence. Here is an example. You see, when you're talking to a Muslim, a Muslim will tell you that, oh, there's no compulsion in Islam. There's no compulsion in religion. Muslim doesn't force people to become Muslims. You see? Yes, it is half proof. It is in the Quran. It's in the Quran. Go and read Surah chapter 2 verse Surah 256. It's in the Quran. But you know something? There's no compulsion in religion. It was said by Muhammad when he was in Medina, early Medina. At that time, the Christians were around and the Christians could overcome him. He didn't have so much authority. So he said, oh, I'm not forcing people to become Muslims. So Islam, no. There's nobody forces anybody. It was early Medina, or the town called Medina. That's where he was. And he had not conquered many people. So he said, nobody forces you. It is in the Quran, but it is half true. That is not true because it has been abrogated. It was later abrogated with this surah. Are they seeking a religion? Listen very carefully. Are they seeking a religion other than Allah? When every soul in the heavens and earth have submitted to him, willing or by compulsion. Surah 3 verse 83. And Surah 3 verse 83 is what? Later Medina. The first one was early Medina. Now, when Muhammad had gone later, he has conquered many people. He's now becoming powerful. He can now beat people very easily. It is now later Medina. This is what Muhammad did. He abrogated what has been said earlier by this Quranic verse. Are they seeking a religion other than Allah's? Not a religion of Christianity or Jewish but the religion should be only from Allah. Are they seeking a religion other than Allah? When every soul in the heavens and earth are submitted to him willingly or by compulsion. So Muhammad is saying in Surah 3 verse 83 that Muslims should willingly, Christians, Jews, atheists, people they've conquered, they should willingly become Muslims or they should force them to become Muslims. Surah 3 verse 83. That is later Medina. So when a Muslim goes, there's no compulsion in religion. It's not mind, he's doing half truth. He's just doing kitman. It's just kitman. Because even though it's in the Quran, it has been abrogated. Let me give you another example. Of kitman. Permission to take up arms is hereby given to those who are attacked. Is it very careful? One is saying that you are permitted to take up arms if you are attacked. Okay, let me listen very carefully. I'll read this again. Muhammad is saying, permission is given to you to take up arms if you are attacked because they have been wronged. He said, Muhammad is saying that if you are attacked by people, you have the permission to take up arms because people have wronged you. That is Surah chapter 22 verse 39. Because you have been wronged, you are permitted to take up arms. So arm taking and in self-defense, it is only when you are being attacked. So when you are in self-defense or you are doing self-defense, you can take the gun and shoot or defend yourself. And that one is late Mecca. But later, this was abrogated. Let's look at the abrogation. listen to the application. When you look at Surah chapter 9, verse 5, this one is also late Medina. This is when it's also late Medina. Listen very carefully. When he abrogated that when you are attacked and you take arms, it's a self-defense. It was abrogated. Now listen very carefully. When the sacred meals are over, the sacred meals, what are the sacred meals for the Muslims? Is the Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr and all that. He said, when the sacred meals are over, slay the idolaters wherever you find them, arrest them, besiege them, lie in ambush everywhere for them. You see, after they finish their Eid al-Fitr, Ramadan and so on, Muhammad is saying that go and attack the people. You see, go and attack the people. So even though there was no compulsion in religion, it was abrogated. You understand? Even though you can do self-defense, it was abrogated. You now don't need for people to come and attack. You go and attack them first. That is what the Israelis are using against the Muslims. But they know the Quran will say you should come and attack them. So they are always ready to go and attack you first. Most of the things Muslims do on social media is Tawriya or Kitman. Most of the things you read on Facebook, they come and say this. Oh, don't worry, there is a Tawriya or Kitman. Taqiyya has got more to do with politics, political things, and nations and so on. Yeah, most of the time, what they are doing, you know, they intertwine. They are interwoven to each other. Sometimes you can't tell the differences. But Taqiyya is the more popular one. But Tawriya or Kitman is simply what many Muslims do on social media. Asking another question in the question. Insulting you. I can write something on Facebook. And how come I ask me 3 simple questions for Muslims to answer? A Muslim will come and say that, foolish man, you are crazy, you are mad. Look at my old man. Look, you, grandfather. I'm telling you, these are insulting to me. They keep on insulting me. You see, why are they doing that? For me to say that you are this, I also try to insult. Usually I do that. The main subject, the post is off. They are doing Kitman or Tawriya. You see, they will insult you, they will curse you and so on. They will ask a question in the question. They will never answer your question. Telling you there's an example in the Bible. Whatever you tell them, they say, oh, there's an example in the Bible. They will go and quote the Bible. Even this man did this. Anytime you say something about Muhammad, they will go and look for something in the Bible about maybe a prophet of God who did something and he has repented. Then they'll say, oh, this might be good worse. They are doing Tawriya. They are doing Kitman. These people, Muhammad married Aisha at 6 years, and they'll go and talk about Joseph, who they claim married Mary when he was 90 years, and so on. Now, we've learned about Taqiyya. We learned about Muruna. We've learned about Tawriya, and we've learned about Kitman. These are the 4 main things Muslims are using in the world. As Christians, the Bible says that we should be wise as serpents, and we should know the strategies and the plans of the evil one. We should not be ignorant of the strategies. You will not see the devil coming. He uses channels, he uses men, he uses religious groups like Islam, Buddhists, and all of them have their various ways of doing their evangelism. Now they don't see plenty wars in other countries because of the way the world is going on, because of of America and Israel. Formerly, Muhammad, there was not like Facebook and so on. He would just go and kill you. Now Muslims are trying to promote Islam through Facebook, social media, and so on. You go to YouTube, you bring a Muslim video, and then they'll go and report you to YouTube, and then YouTube will come and ban it. Yes, you write something on Facebook, you write something on YouTube, and the Muslims will report you to YouTube and Facebook, and your post or your tube or your video is brought down. We keep on praying for them. We keep on knowing that is part of the strategies of the devil when they are not able to cope with the truth that we give them. The Bible says that light came and darkness could not comprehend the light. When light comes, darkness runs away. And the only way they can do to protect Islam now is to be reporting our videos and our posts to YouTube and Facebook. No problem. Now when they report, sometimes it's brought back. because Christians are standing and telling the YouTube why the things we have to do that. So some are being brought back. My three YouTube videos has been removed. I don't have a problem. I have similar ones. I don't have a problem. But again, let us know this. 2 Corinthians 2 verse 11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. These 4 things which I have taught you today, I have enumerated today: Taqiyya, TAWRIYA, Kitman, and Muruna. It is the strategy the devil is using to the channel of Islam. You should not be ignorant of this device. The Bible tells us you should not be ignorant. And the Bible says in Hebrews 4 verses, the popular one, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The distraction here is not that you die. You meet a Muslim, and because you have not studied to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, he destroys you. He makes you useless. My people are destroyed because you don't have knowledge, because you don't have information. God don't want us to be destroyed. God will want you to be a capable and able soldier for him. Know the strategies of every ministry God has put you in. And if you are a Muslim, and if you are an apologist for Muslim evangelists, for Muslims, I want you to know these 4 things. Understand? And don't be wavered. Don't move. Set your face like a friend and do the work of God. God bless you. I want you to subscribe to this channel of mine, Dr. Nibojo Christolite, and then share this video to many people. And I know God will bless you. God bless you. Bye-bye.